Yeah, but before this, of course, I want to say hi to everyone and thank you so much for joining this workshop. I hope all of you had a great start of the summer and happy to see that you decided to start this summer with some learnings. I definitely will share them on today's workshop. Let's start. And I want to ask you a question. And I want you to focus on your thought process, kind of try to observe what are the first things that comes to your mind when you try to answer the question. So can you confidently say precisely how much pipeline and revenue each dollar spent on your marketing generated for your last quarter? Let's stop here for a second. Try to answer this question. Observe what are the thoughts that come into your head right now. First intentions. Is it like one tool where you're going to check this data? Several tools? Can you trust this data? And how easy is to get this data? So if that question kind of made you stop and think for a second, then you are in the right place because on today's workshop, I'm going to tackle these exact challenges. I will start by pointing out the biggest data problems for B2B marketeers and CMOs, and then I will put some clear roadmap for building a unified analytics system for you. During this workshop, then we will review how powerful tools like Google BigQuery and Dataform can help you on this journey to overcome the challenges. And I also will share with you 4 step-by-step guides on how to connect GA4, Google Ads, LinkedIn, and HubSpot to the BigQuery. And at the end, I also will make a live demo on how to connect different data points together in the with the help of Dataform in the GCP platform and visualize it in the Looker Studio. Let's get started. Then, what are these top data measurement challenges for CMOs? So the first one is something you really know and faced more than dozens of times already in your life. I'm more than sure about this. It's inconsistent data and inaccurate measurement. This challenge creates a very fundamental problem when you work with the data, which sounds like, can I really trust my data? And if you can't confidently say that, yes, I can, then you are making these budget decisions and just decisions with the gut feeling, and these could cost you a lot. And another problem with these is that if you have some problems in terms of your tracking, critical problems with the conversions, micro conversions tracking, which you spot quite late because you don't have an automated process how to constantly check these valuable data points, then your ads are running usually with the same budget as always, but you don't give the feedback for your ads systems for optimization, and as the result, you spend your money, but your ROAS goes down. Another point is that the data lies in silos. So your marketing data lives in dozens of separate tools today. So it's like Google Ads, LinkedIn Ads, GA4, HubSpot. Revenue data is somewhere else, like payment gateway systems, Stripes or ChargeBee, and each of its tools lies in their own silos, basically. So every system has its own way of counting data there. So like users, metrics, conversions with windows, uses different attribution models. And the problem is that these tools don't speak to each other. They just show you numbers, and it's your responsibility to learn and remember the context behind the data that you see in these tools. And there are so many of these tools right now, yes. Idea for this workshop actually came from the call with one of our potential clients, and we're asked about the reporting. So I asked how do you make a reporting on monthly basis, and the CMO said that they open LinkedIn, Google Ads, GA for CRM, and then just try to somehow match the numbers in a sheet. This is a reality for many of us. I know it based on working with the clients and talking with people from the industry. And the big problem here is that 70% of time is spent to match something that is quite hard to match, and only 30% of time is left to make some analysis and ask the right questions. And it should be vice versa. And the final thing is attribution. So attribution complexity, it has been always a challenge in marketing, but now it became even more complicated. Mainly why is that because we have so many legal and technical restrictions and limitations. By legal, I mean things like GDPR, and technical is like browser restrictions, intelligent tracking prevention systems, and ad blockers, etc., etc. With all these challenges, leaves us wondering which marketing strategies are truly acquiring the most valuable users and which have the highest return on investment, and where should we actually allocate more of our budgets. So what are the typical approaches to solving these problems and the pitfalls? Okay, my camera is back. Good. I can't say it is an approach, but this is where many companies kind of end up, is that they use the loudest tool in the room, which is usually the CRM, and for quite obvious reasons, because leadership, sales, and marketing spend quite a lot of time there, and it becomes the default source of truth for everyone. But companies and people who are using these often blindly trust the CRM systems and the attribution models. So I heard multiple times from people when asking about what kind of attribution model they use for their reporting and the CRM, that they name just the tool, not the attribution model. So if it's HubSpot, they say we use HubSpot attribution model, and they do not question, let's say, what is behind this HubSpot attribution model, and it can vary based on a layer of data where you're looking at it. Another approach here would be to choose some other SaaS tools, which might be a good option if you don't have enough resources, time, and looking for a very fast solution, because these tools usually tries to sell you a one-button click solution and to solve all of your data integration challenges just by go into their tool, make some authentication, and enjoy the final result. However, the bottleneck or drawbacks with these tools is that they usually come with quite big cost paid for every month, and then in the long term, it might be a significant amount of money, which will make your kind of own integration or making your own solution in the long run cheaper. And another thing is that these tools try to feed all type of clients, and with kind of desire to do so, they put some certain frames on how your data should look like, and sometimes it and the problem with these frames that you it's quite hard for you to spot them before you make a solution to go with these SaaS tools. So when you just decided and started to use them, build the system there, you identify that there are problems which you can't overcome. So that's the drawbacks of these using SaaS tools. And the third way that I defined here is to build your own solution. And this workshop is dedicated on how to do it within the Google Cloud Platform. All right, so before we kind of go into the details, I want to kind of catch your attention and show you, let's say, what this final result of Unify and all these data points all together can look like. And usually when we kind of imagine what we want to see at the end, we kind of already have some visualizations in our heads on how we want certain data to be visualized. And Google Analytics affected a lot this vision because it was for quite a long time kind of standard of the reporting. And Google Analytics has like good things for in terms of cross filtering. So you can get the overview of what is going on. You have some really nice and good features for filtering the data, like based on some dimensions, countries, devices, landing pages. However, the problem with this is that you don't have cost data imported there. You are missing the revenue in most cases, specifically for B2B, where you have like recurrent purchases, subscription models. GA4 is not like really good fit to visualize all these things in the UX. And then usually you also missing the CRM data. Or if you even have it, then there are certain limitations with accuracy, let's say, of these data and availability for the cross-filtering. Another approach is to use sheets. I love sheets. Don't have anything against them. If it works for you and it answers your most important questions, then totally fine and keep doing the sheets. However, in the long run, it is a problem if you have a lot of data. Then it can freeze, take a lot of time to make some kind of calculations, can break constantly, and it also usually requires a lot of manual reporting. And the ideal solution is to have some reporting which is automated, which has the information about the costs, revenue, and your CRM data available. So specifically for this workshop, I prepared a template. I will share it with you right now in the chat. So feel free to open it, play with this data over here. Just very, let's say, important point that idea of this report is to show you what your final result might look like. It uses some just random data that I generated for these visualizations, but you will get the idea of how these end-to-end analytics might look like at the end for you. So core thing here is that you unify different data points all together. You have your ads data imported. You have your Google Analytics data for online browser behavior, let's say, analysis, and then you have your CRM data available with the revenue as well. So you can calculate your marketing metrics, not just by what is happening online, but what is your customer acquisition costs for different stages. What is your ROAS metrics for your revenue, so you can better evaluate your channels. If we look at this report, so we have like a cross-filtering possibility available here. which comes from the GA4, but allows us to cross-filter different data points. Then we have some data from GA4 CRM, as I mentioned. We also have some attribution comparison, so you can see what contributes to your conversions during the user journey, and the overview of your funnels as well. So where the drop-offs are happening, how things are going in general, and what are your costs per different channels and different stages for your CRM. Okay, feel free to play with this during this presentation. I will move on further. So what you just have seen is called kind of end-to-end analytics. And what it is a way where you can connect every part of your marketing, sales, and customer journey into some unified system. In a nutshell, it helps to answer a very critical question to your business. It's like, where do you spend the money and how much you earned? And if you think about this definition, then the key elements that end-to-end analytics consist of is the cost data. Usually it is your traffic acquisition channels, ads, Google Ads, LinkedIn, Meta, its affiliates, no matter where does you store this data, and SEO as well. If you have like agency or freelancer or people in-house who are doing SEO for you, it also generates the cost for your business. And you need to consider this when you evaluate the channels. Another critical point here is web data. Usually it comes with the Google Analytics because it is a very good tool for collecting the general traffic behavior, like where the traffic is coming from. So the source mediums, the countries, landing pages, and many other dimensions. Or another way, you can skip Google Analytics and start storing UTMs and referral information in your CRM directly, so you can later on unify it with your costs data. It is a valid approach, and I would say that it's even more preferred in some cases compared to the Google Analytics, because Google Analytics can be blocked due to some browser restrictions, ad blockers, and things like that. But the UTMs and referrals you can store without kind of relying on the Google Analytics in this case. However, if you go with this approach, then you need to have a script or system in place which kind of replicate what Google does. So kind of checks if there is a gclit, then there is a Google CPC. If there is no gclit, but there are UTMs, then return UTMs. If there are no gclit, no UTMs, but there is a referral, then return the referral information, and only then return direct none, or meaning the source is unknown. And the last point here would be to bring your revenue data. Usually it lies in the CRM systems, but if you have like some subscription-based services, then it comes with some payment providers like ChargePay or Stripe, where these subscriptions are handled and managed. Okay, so we know these elements of end-to-end analytics, what is needed to build this kind of system. But let's also kind of review when does the business need the end-to-end analytics in general. I would say that there is a need if you have complex sales and marketing and high budget. So if your traffic acquisition costs for ads and SEO already kind of is around 15,000 euros, then you probably also expect to grow, then you already might want to have some observability on what is working for you and what is not. If you have an efficient resource allocation, so if there is a lack of understanding where the money is being spent and what is driving the revenue, then you need to consider building this kind of system. If you have data fragmentation across tools, this is what I already point out in this data silos issue. So which kind of usually in the real world scenario looks like this, like Meta claims 100 leads, Google Ads shows 90, CRM shows 150, and GA4 120. So whom should I trust? And if you struggle with finding out the answer, then you probably need the end analytics. And the last but not the least is manual reporting. So if you invest 10, 15 hours per month just to collect all the data and prepare it for some reporting, in a year perspective, it is around the months of full-time working. So this could be a good saving for you to have these things automated. When you don't need it is when you have some simple business model or small budget. So basically, if you're some software company which is doing some plugin for the WordPress, you probably have quite a straightforward sales process on the WordPress itself, and you don't need to build and invest in this end-to-end analytics system. And also, if your budgets are quite low, there might be no need in this. If you just validate an advertising channel, so you have some low volume or one-time campaigns, then there is no need in building the system, because the costs for building the system and maintaining the system will just be higher than your investing budgets, which does not make sense. And product development is way more important on this stage. So if your kind of survival depends on what you do right now with your product, then you don't need to think about any end-to-end analytics at this stage. So now let's go to this roadmap for building end-to-end marketing analytics part. The step number 1, very obvious, but very crucial and important, which quite often not taken too seriously, and it should be. So you need to define the business need and the goal. So basically, why? What marketing and business problems are you trying to solve? What specific questions you can't answer today due to these data issues? What KPIs are critical for success? If you have like a clear understanding why, then you make your road to achieve the final result quite straightforward and clear, and this will save you time and money on your journey towards achieving this goal. So when I ask these questions, our clients who are interested in this dashboarding service, then usually what I see, quite common answers that I see, is that they want to know which campaigns or channels has the highest volume and revenue pipeline contribution, what is the customer acquisition cost for sales qualified lead stage and paying customers with cost broken down by each marketing source, which channels does perform well so they can relocate the budgets. Step number 2 is to design the desired outcome, kind of the what question. What does a unified actionable view of your marketing performance look like? What dashboards or reports do you need to answer the questions defined in the step 1? When you think through in the details, why do you need certain things, then you usually come up with some ideas and visualization in your head, how you want this data to look like. And this is a critical step where you need to take a pen and the paper and just try to draw your dashboard. Think about what kind of filtering do you need at this stage? What are the KPIs? If you want to see your source medium data, then what are the costs for the sources that needs to be there? How do you want to evaluate these channels? All of these kind of gives you a clear answer in terms of what kind of data do you need to answer your questions. So example of answering this question would be that you want to have a unified automated dashboard as the single source of truth, which can be integrated with marketing data across all channels and the CRM. It connects investments and activities directly to the full customer funnel, pipeline, and revenue, enabling accurate metrics like customer acquisition cost, LTV, and ROAS for paying customers. If you kind of pointed out you have a clear answer on what you want, then you kind of already can see these key messages or key things that you need to include in your future dashboard. So it should be automated. So basically, you need to have some system which would kind of collect all data from different data sources and automatically perform all the necessary manipulation, transformations, and data joins. Then you define kind of what kind of data is needed there, marketing data. Then in the next step, we will review, let's say, what does that mean, this marketing data. You have CRM data and the revenue data. Step number 3. Inventory data sources. Basically, where is it now? This is kind of data lies in its own silos at the moment. It's in different places, and you, like in the step number 2, you defined, let's say, what you want to have at the end, what kind of metrics and sources are needed for these. And on step number 3, you can identify specifically all the platforms and tools which are holding this data right now. Some like kind of obvious thing is like your ads cost lies in the ad systems, Google Ads, Meta, LinkedIn, but for example, your affiliate marketing or cost might be stored somewhere in the Google Sheets or in some other places. So you need to kind of be very specific in terms of understanding where the data is right now. Step number 4, select the data warehouse. So, okay, you understand it. Why do you need the dashboard? Like how should it look like basically? And then what kind of data sources do you need to make it happen? So then the next question you have is like, where do I need to store this data? And this is where you kind of come up with the cloud data warehouses. You can organize your cost data, which should be pulled in some data warehouse. You have like this web data, like Google Analytics, which should be unified in the same place. Your CRM data that should also be fed in the same place. Your cost and revenue data, which might be in different place, but as the example here, it's a charge-based system. And then from that place, where you do all the manipulation with the data, you can visualize it in visualization tools like Tableau, Power BI, or Looker Studio. Step number 4, select the data warehouse. Still at this stage, for those who kind of not sure and what the data warehouse is, analogy would be is that it's like a central data palace in the cloud where you can unify all your marketing data in different rooms rather than living in different places. In the data warehouse, you can bring all of these things together under one roof. And for this, I will quickly switch to the BigQuery for those who never been there. How it might look like that you have some project, and under the project you have the data sets, and these data sets have different data points. So here you can see that we have Google Ads data point, it might be Facebook, then there are data points coming from the HubSpot, LinkedIn, so on and so forth. So why should you choose BigQuery as your data warehouse for the marketing? In general, the answer is that it has good native integrations with the Google products if you're already on the using the Google stack. So for example, this GA4 connection, at the moment it is free of charge. You can connect it unless you have more than 1 million hits per day in your analytics. And previously, just for your understanding, that it was available only for the enterprise clients. I mean, in the old Universal Analytics date, and the cost was like more than 100,000 euros in this essence. And now it is free of charge and quite easy to connect it. There is also a native Google Ads connection. You don't need any specific knowledge. Again, kind of just click through the buttons and you can import the data about your Google Ads to the BigQuery. And also BigQuery has like really nice and easy connections to other Google products like Sheets, Looker Studio, Gemini, and things like that. So coming back to the BigQuery, this is kind of the way how you can query your data. This is the example of GA4 session table. This is how your final result when you query the data might look like, and you can easily connect it to Google Sheets, for example, if you want to work further with this data. And in this essence, you kind of can make pre-aggregation in the BigQuery and in the Google Sheets. Then you have already aggregated data, so it's not heavy running on formulas and things like that. BigQuery has a convenient API, so of course there is no native connection to all of the tools, but there is a convenient API, and it can help you to import the data from different places to the BigQuery if you have the development resources. It is free of start. If you sign up first, then you get this 300 USD coupon for 3 months. And in my experience, like if you have like less than 50,000 of users per month, then most likely BigQuery will be free for you, unless you do something really strange. And even though considering this, you can get this 300 USD coupon for first 3 months, and that would be quite enough for you to learn the BigQuery and make minor mistakes, let's say there. And besides this, BigQuery offers you quite a big limit of free monthly data quota. So you can query around 1 terabyte of data and store about 10 gigabytes of data in the BigQuery without any extra cost for you. Again, for medium-sized B2B companies, which has like less than 50,000 users per month, in most cases, it would be just free of charge or with like really, really small costs associated. Okay, so we are moving further, and step number 5 is to establish data ingestion. So well-known ETL or ELT process. On the previous stage, you defined the where you want to pull the data, you define the sources that you want to bring to the BigQuery. So now it's time to bring this data to the BigQuery. And to make this happen, you can use APIs if you have the development resources, or you can use some third-party tools like Airbyte or Fivetran to make this import quite easy to set up and handle, which comes with relatively small costs on monthly basis. However, the kind of disadvantage of this, if you're really strict on sharing the data with third-party tools, that might be a bottleneck for you. And for this purpose, I prepared all these guides, which I will share with you right now. And in the meetings, in terms of how you can make the connections to the BigQuery. So GA4 and Google Ads, they use like native connectors. You can just bookmark these guides and later on try to make these connections. And to be honest, for the GA4, if you still don't have the BigQuery link in and you have less than 1 million hits per month, then I highly encourage you to make it happen. Quite fast to do again, and you don't know when you will need this data because GA4 linking to the BigQuery starts collect data only from the moment when you make this connection. Yes, so GA4 to BigQuery, Google Ads to BigQuery, LinkedIn and HubSpot BigQuery, but LinkedIn and HubSpot are done through the Airbyte third-party tool. Please note this down. Step number 6 is to transform. Yes, Liz?
Sorry to interrupt, but just the last link for the HubSpot guide isn't, it's like half cut. So could you please repaste that either now or later?
Yep, thank you. Let me go back. I will do it right now. Should be good to go. Let me quickly open it in incognito. Yes, that works for me. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Catherine and Lee.
And you're muted, so please unmute yourself now.
Yes, thank you. Step number 6, so transform and model your data. So this is where we are coming to the Dataform, and we'll go through some live demos right now. But logically, let's say in this roadmap, at the moment we are on the stage when we uploaded all the raw data from different data sources to the BigQuery, and now we need to make something reasonable out of this data. We need to clean it, transform it, delete what we don't need, and prepare our tables for the final join with other data sources. It's a lot of work at this stage. I don't want to make an illusion that it is easy to do or handle. But in this workshop, we will focus on what are the challenges that you face when you have to deal with these different or many data sets when you're making joins. So the challenge number 1 here would be the table dependencies. Let's look at these two reports. So you have like this source medium report, which is combined with Google, like ads cost, GA4 CRM data, and also you have this attribution comparison report for some certain conversion. So in order to make this happen, it looks nice, but behind this there is like an entire infrastructure. So in order to make it happen, you need to take your GA4 raw data, then you build events table and session tables because like in you would need these pre-aggregated tables later on in some other reports that you want to build, and it's better to have them separately stored and updated. Then for the attribution table, for attribution report, you have to make some extra pre-aggregation calculations, cleanup. So make a separate table for attribution preparation table, and only after this, you can apply your SQL codes to build like different models: last on direct, first click, position-based, liner, time decay. And when you have these models built, you need to unify them in one report. So this is what it looks like in terms of just the building, let's say, the conversion path report. And when it comes to source medium report from the example on top of this, you need to combine your GA4 session table with events table to build your source medium table based on your default attribution logic, for example, last on direct or first click. And then you need to also separately work with all the different sources that you want to unify it to. And in a nutshell, let me just quickly go to the next slide. In a nutshell, your kind of data dependency can look like this. As you can see, it is quite big logic behind building all of these, and there are a lot of dependencies for different tables. So if you do it just in the BigQuery without the help of the Dataform, you can use scheduled queries. The scheduled queries, for those who also is not familiar, you can kind of run your query and then set up some scheduling for this. You can run this query, let's say, at certain every day, let's say at 6 a.m. And this query will execute every day at 6 a.m. If you don't have a lot of data sources, quite a valid approach. However, if you have a lot of them, as I just showed you, it becomes like really not inconvenient to manage these dependencies. First of all, you need to use like manual orchestration, manually set up some schedule logic that, for example, session and events table should be uploaded, queried at 6 a.m. and then some attribution preparation table at 6:10. So you kind of make sure that these tables firstly become will be updated, and only after these update the table, which should take data from both of them. And another problem here is that there are no automatic retries. If something gets broken, you just probably can get down notice, and you will miss some data from some data point, and the data still will be in your final reporting, will be working on it. So the solution here is Dataform, because it allows you to set up the dependencies. Let me go now to the GCP platform and to the Dataform specifically. Okay, yes, I have it here. This is exactly what I was showing you right now. And the good point of this Dataform that in the SQL code itself, you can kind of set up the dependencies for the tables. And just to demonstrate you this, I will use my final SQL for which generates source medium table with all the data points unified, and will execute it. Yep. Let's now go to executions. And as you can see, it starts running all the tables which are should be run before this table is loaded. So that kind of makes sure that you have all the relative data available on daily basis or whenever other frequency you need, and it automatically loads other data sources before running your main table. Let's move on further. Challenge number 2 is the cost of requerying everything daily. So if you run your daily queries from day 1 to like January 1st of January 2020 until today, this query can be like really big. And further you go in the future, the bigger these queries can be. Here is the example that table for one of our clients starting from January of this year takes already 30 gigabytes of data just for one run. So in 1 year, with the same amount of data coming to the BigQuery, it would be 60 gigabytes. And then this will become quite costly for the client just to load this data. And solution here with the Dataform that you can run incremental tables. For those who does not know what the incrementality is, I will try to explain it in an easy way. So Imagine you have a long book, basically your data table, and it gets new pages added every day. So with non-incremental run, basically if you just run your table, as I showed in the BigQuery for the first time, then it is the same as you rereading the entire book from page 1 every single day just to catch up on the new pages. However, with the incremental approach, you read in the new pages that were added since your last visit, and you quickly check in the last few chapters before your last check, so you can see if there were any small edits. In other words, let me just go back to Dataform again and make some example for you. So if I run, let's say, row GA4 session table, let me comment something. Okay, so I executed this table. Let's wait for a moment. So the status will change to completed one. Here we go. Yes, and now let me go to my job history. Yep, you can see that this table kind of processed 88 megabytes of data and build bytes are 89. Very small amount of data, but this is just like an example of some test data set. In reality, your data sets might take a lot of gigabytes to be loaded. And what Dataform allows us to do is to incrementally load this table. Basically, we can load not the entire data set from the date 1 when it was created, let's say, but check what was the last time it was run, and add only new data that appeared from that moment. So if I now do the run of this query, let's go to the executions. Yes, you can see that it's twice faster already in this case. And now let's refresh our job runs. And you can see that the amount of processed data is 4 times lower than it was, and then around 30% in terms of build bytes as well. So when you have a lot of data and you need to update it on daily basis for different data sources, it can save you a lot of money on costs for the BigQuery. Let's move on further. Data quality. So what I mentioned in this first kind of challenge for marketeers is that because we're all humans, we might spot issues quite late in this regard. And these issues can be quite critical if we use this to fit our ads platforms. So finding a way how to automate the process of data quality and checks is very important. So we can get an immediate notification if something gets broken. And Dataform allows us to do it. Basically, it allows us to run assertions. And assertions in Dataform, these are automatic quality control checks for your data. It's like small, simple tests you write to say, these data must always meet these certain rule. Let's get back to the Dataform, and I will show you an example of how does it look like. Quite a common problem for marketeers is that they forgot to add the UTMs when they run their campaigns. It happens, we're all human. quite understandable, but we need to spot these issues very fast and fix it because at the end it affects a lot your later on visualization of your end-to-end analytics. So here I have a simple test which I can run whenever time I want. In my case, it's every week. And what it does, it checks if we have any traffic coming from Google Ads and there are no UTMs. So basically, it checks in the GA form if we have any session start event where we have the gclick parameter in the URL, but we are missing UTM source or mediums. And in my condition in the query, I say if we have more than one session like this, then this assertion should fail. And if it fails, I want to get a notification in Gmail or Slack. So let's firstly just run this test to see if it has data or it doesn't. As you can see, it has. We have 10 sessions which has the gclick, but they don't have the UTM source and medium. So basically, we have some campaigns without the proper UTM tagging math. And if I now kind of simulate this daily run of this assertion, what's going to happen here is that it will fail. And when it fails, it shows me an error that this assertion failed because it expected to get 0 rows and it has 1 row with 10 sessions in total missing the data. And when it happens, you can use the alerting system in the GCP. If you go into your logs, choose your errors, you can see that there are some errors generated today, exactly the timestamp after my run. And what you can do is to, let's explore this error. We can see that it's exactly the same that I was talking about. It has this assertion, gclick, and UTM. And what I can do, I can create an alert for this specific problem. So I can call it like UTMs are missing for Google Ads campaigns. It is a warning, put some documentation if needed. And then here we need to provide some filtering option for this. I will just copy paste it. I have it somewhere. Yep, and let's preview the logs. Okay, so this is the one I'm talking about, the last one. This was run in the morning, yesterday, 2 days ago, and so on. And then you can set up some frequency of this notification and choose where do you want to get this kind of notification. Might be Slack, might be Google Chats, emails, webhooks for any custom development. But the point is quite clear here, that you can design whenever quality checks you want to for your conversions. If the conversion rates dropped comparing to previous days, previous weeks, and whenever other quality controls you have, and automate them, fully automate that they run on whenever frequency you want, and these things won't get unnoticed. This is a good big advantage of Dataform. And of course, another thing which is quite important in terms of Dataform is that it connects to the GitHub, so you can have the history of the code in your repository, and if something gets broken, you can recover it quite quickly and get the records of what is going on with your code development. Okay, so for those who is interested in getting more information about the Dataform itself in the details, I would really encourage to check the Artem Korneyev's video on YouTube in terms of what it is and how it works. He goes there in the details in terms of technical aspects on how to make the configuration and how to set up the infrastructure in the Dataform. And then it's time for the live demo. Let me go back to this Dataform. I will check the template. So what we are looking here is that we have built a system where we have CRM data, we have Google Ads data, pre-aggregated, combined, unified, and cleaned, then GA4 last non-direct session data, and data coming from the LinkedIn. All of these things are unified in one final table, which we will visualize in the Looker Studio template. So if we go to this query, let's quickly execute it again. Okay, and while it's loading, I think I can go and find this table in the BigQuery. Here we go. So as you can see, it was modified exactly. So I assume it's finished already. Yes, it does. So we have the latest data available in the BigQuery, and all of these things are done automatically. I just run them here right now for as the examples. You don't need to do these things manually every time. So, and now you can visualize this data set in your your visualization tool. In my case, it's easier to do it in the Looker Studio, but the same approach would be used for Power BI and Tableau system. So let's quickly put some table data over here and add some filters. Filters. Let it be date range. Let it be some filtering for the source medium. Okay, and now our table itself. We have the source medium information. Let's put also the campaign information available for the drill down. And then let's have our clicks and cost data coming from ads platforms, LinkedIn and Google Ads and these essence. Then data from GA4, like users, some conversion, and then having data coming from your CRM system, MQLs, SQLs, BON deals, and revenue, for example. And here we go. We have this data set available. Of course, need to work better on the visualization part and add extra fields for calculations for your customer acquisition cost, ROAS, and whenever conversion rates, add some comparison in terms of time periods. But this is kind of the full journey in terms of how you can unify these data points all together and later on visualize it for automated report. So let's make a quick summary of what we have learned today. We started with kind of intro, what are these biggest challenges and the data silos issues. And we defined that first step would be to understand why. So why do you need to build these reports, define the business need and the goals. The second step would be to design the desired outcome. Basically, what do you want to get as the final result? Then you need to make an inventory of your data sources. Basically, where does your data stored right now? Step number 4 is to select the data warehouse. I did not mention that there are other data warehouse available. Of course, they are mostly presented by big companies like AWS and Microsoft, but I focus here on Google Cloud Platform and Google BigQuery specifically because it works really well with the BigQuery and have all these native connections. Then the next step was establish data ingestion. So this is kind of data engineering process over here. You need to set up a system when you can reliably and sustainably pull the data from your data points that you defined in step 3 to your BigQuery. Make all the necessary and the next step would be to transform and model this data. So you make necessary transformation, prepare the data, make some pre-aggregations, so it is ready for the final join in your visualization tool. And that's it. We've done it in 1 hour. Do we have any questions? Maybe I will wait for a minute if there are any. Meanwhile, I also would like you to, if you kind of stay till the end, I really appreciate it. Hope you learned something new. It wasn't boring. Or at least you are the first one. Yes, I really would appreciate if you can go and give your feedback in terms of how interesting this was for you. And I really encourage you to put some ideas on what our next workshops should be. You have a chance to decide what we are going to present to you next. So please do it. Yes, thanks, Christina, Roman, appreciate it. And yes, so the recording also will be sent to you probably by Monday, but we'll try to make it happen by tomorrow as well. Okay.
Thank you, everyone, for joining, and thank you, Artur, for this. It's definitely a lot. I know I'm looking forward to the recording to go through a few more spots once more. So thank you, everyone. Have a lovely rest of your Thursday. Keep an eye out for the email with the recording and the materials, and we will see you in the next one.
Take care. Bye-bye.